beer review. So hopefully you guys are having a great Sunday. And to you dads out there, happy Father's Day as well. I'm going to actually take a look at one that I just picked up. And it's actually one I got a deal on. It is from Rogue. It is the 2019 Santa's Private Reserve. So this is actually one you can actually store or cellar. Comes in at 8.1% ABV. It is a dark ale brewed with candy cap mushrooms. That's kind of interesting. And there on the front side is where you have Santa kind of chilling on some mushrooms. And so this is going to be a Christmas in June type beer thing, I guess we can say. But we're going to go ahead and check this one out here. And hopefully, like I said, you guys are having a great Sunday. I actually wanted to go outside and do a little bit of a cigar today, but freaking hot. It's like 90 something degrees outside. Was not about to get into all of that. So decided to go ahead and do a beer video instead and kind of check this one out with you guys. Now I've done this one for the 2018 Santa's Reserve, which I actually did like as well. So this will be a nice one to see how they did with the 2019. They do change it up every year, and if you're not familiar with Rogue Ales, they are actually out of Oregon. So let's go ahead and get this baby cracked open, see what it has to offer. Oh, before I do, let's check out the back of the bottle as well. On the back, it makes mention of it being sweet and more to the malt side, of course. Does have a little bit of a bitterness and kind of something they do on their bottles now. If you haven't noticed before, there's a star which will actually indicate it. So if you're ever looking at their beers, kind of figuring out if it fits your palate, this is the nice thing to look for there as well, so that you can kind of see if you're more of a sweet type fan, you have that on their bottles. If you're more of a bitter type fan, that gets noted and all that stuff. So great for the person that's just getting into the beer. And I'll scroll down here a little bit, and you can see the writing on the bottle itself, where they made the little story about Santa visiting and how they came up with this one. And if you want to pause it, you can pause to read all the rest of it. I'm not going to get into all those details. On the sides, you have the information of the IBUs of the 20, the 8.1 ABV there in the red as well. 31 SRM, let you know it's going to be a darkly colored beer. So a lot of good details on the Rogue bottle that they actually do provide. And as I look on here now, I'm trying to see if there is actually a date. And I don't see one noted on the bottle, which I believe Rogue doesn't do as much. But however, if you do go to cellar a beer, rule of thumb is usually about 8%. I've done it with less, but 8% is kind of what you want to look for in a dark type beer, especially when it's more malt forward. So at 8.1, this is actually one you can do that with. It does give you pairing ideas, bacon wrapped dates, fried chicken and waffles, Christmas cookies. I don't know anybody's ever had bacon wrapped dates, but the chicken and waffles, very popular, as well as Christmas cookies. So there you go. When it comes back around in Christmas, you might want to look to pair this with something there. Get this baby open. Get a nice little pour. Got to reach around this microphone that I got here now. So this style is actually a strong ale, which I consider kind of the catch-all for beers that don't really fit to a style when they've got a lot of alcohol in them. The last one they did for 2018 was a Belgian strong ale. I believe this is more of an American type feel. There you have the color of the beer, which is kind of a reddish tinted type beer. You can't really see through to the other side. You're getting a cloudy amount of haze there, so to speak. I can get a light behind it. It does open up a little bit more of that clarity, but I'm not seeing a ton of carbonation. I get a few streams heading up to the head, which did break down rather quickly. It came out about a finger, about a half finger now. So it did dissipate pretty quickly in that regard. Aroma-wise, you do get that sweetness coming out, kind of a candy sweetness in play. And even though they didn't put like a Belgian one on this one, it still has a sense of that type feel, being like a Belgian strong ale. You can just feel like it's going to be almost like a sugary type treat here. So make sure you keep some water around to hydrate as you enjoy this baby. Taste wise, it's got a nice smooth feel to it. As far as flavors, you have some of that dark fruit flavor that comes into play. I'm actually digging this one. This is almost another one that is like a fruit cake in a glass, although it's not as strong or potent as fruit cake. It's got a nice feel to it. That nice sweetness is sitting nicely inside the cheek area. A nice amount of carbonation where it's not overly done as well on this one here. Good duration of the flavor. Really smooth on the back end. Not getting much of a booziness. If you do have a fancy for things like a Belgian type ale, they still carried over some of that here. I myself drinking Belgian ales, probably my favorite style. So this is definitely one I'm really enjoying. Despite getting all that sweetness off on the nose, it does get nicely done in the taste where those malts actually kick in a little bit more to kind of temper down that sweetness so that's not overly sweet. You hold it in the mouth, you get a nice prickling on the tongue of the flavor. Almost has like that, I said candy type feel, but if you think of something like some of those Werther's type candies, things like that, that's what's really coming across here. I'd be surprised if they didn't use candied sugar or so in this one. You know, you see something like mushroom on it, and you're kind of wondering how that's going to come out, but you know, you're not getting any type of thing to really indicate the mushrooms as much. There's not like a feel of a mushroom type thing, but I guess they're subdued with the flavor here. Although I never heard of candy cap mushrooms either. Body wise, it's got a nice medium body on it, so to speak. Not really boozy. You can really feel the flavor nicely on the lips as well. I'm going to have fun drinking the other ones, I'll tell you that. So I ended up getting 3 of these bottles. I think I took the last that might have been of these that were actually there. And I'm glad I did because these are very tasty. I'm going to throw this up on my Untapped. Now, the 2018 on my Untapped, I actually had, it was one of my favorite ones to drink that year. Actually, when I had it last time was a 4.5, I think. So this one is right up there as well. Very decent for what I like. You have to have that palate or I think feel that you really enjoy a lot of the Belgian type ales to really enjoy something like this one. But for me, this is a nice performer from Rogue. I could drink this all day, any part of the year. I think it's very decent. So it's going to be like another 4.5 for me on this one. Everything just kind of come through very nicely to give you a nice smooth appeal with this beer. So if you've had this one, whether it was the 2019 or any of the other editions, maybe the 2018 or anything previous, let me know what you think of it. But nice one to pull from the cellar, the 2019 Santa's Private Reserve from Rogue. Again, if you're looking to sell beers, keep in mind 8% ABV is kind of what you want to go for, which this one definitely does. And you want to do it with more of the maltier type beers rather than some of the bitter and type ones. But definitely say check it out if you haven't, or check out this year when it comes out with the 2020. See what they did differently. This one was 8.1, the previous was 7.9, so they switch it up every year. Thanks for tuning in. I'm going to go ahead and jump out of here and kick back and relax. And again, for all you fathers out there, happy Father's Day. And I look forward to catching you guys soon. Keep drinking those good craft beers. Remember, there's always time. Get your beer on.